Okay, so I scratched some charcoal onto the canvas today. This is the day after, and I'm still able to. This is the evening after, and I'm still able to pull some paint off of there. Which is fine. I'm not surprised about it. But I didn't want to wait. It's late. I'm tired, and I'm Phil. Oh no, I'm grumpy artist. I thought, I'm just gonna. I wasn't gonna bother tonight, but Wednesday I don't take too seriously for videos. But I thought, well, why not? Why not do something and put it on the YouTube universe? So mixed up a little bit of ultramarine blue and raw umber. And let's do the outline. The outline of the plan. Now I have, this is really my only solid landmass in here so far. That's kind of what I was thinking. And I kind of like the idea of maybe a peninsula, a rocky peninsula sticking into a fjord or inlet. I'm not sure what you would call that in Canada. We just call it an inlet. And establishing this shape. And then I thought, in BC where I live, you go off the coast and you will see things like this, where there are mountains in the distance just plummeting down into the water. They just drop thousands of feet into the water. It's just stunning. It's awe-inspiring. It's beautiful. So I thought, well, this could be a painting with emerald greens and different layers of color and different water. Green hills. This would be in the dark. This would catch light. That would catch some light on the left-hand side. Maybe some actual light coming through here, although it's very central. That's okay. It would be pushed to the right because our light's coming from the left in this painting for the most part. Or it would be in that case. Excuse me. So I thought maybe that's what I would do. Let me just establish the water line here. Allow me to hold my breath while I establish the water line. Yes, I used a straight edge to draw it in with charcoal. And sort of a very West Coast look. British Columbia, just north of Washington, which is north of Oregon, which is north of California. which is a long ways away, thankfully. And, you know, in Canada they call it the West Coast, they call it the Left Coast, they call it the wet coast. And I've spent many hours, well, days even, on these waters, just exploring, looking around, soaking up the views. Frankly, just loving life. How about if that rock is a little bit closer? Okay, not by much, not by much. Just sort of like that. You know, after all, it is coming closer to us on the left-hand side. So yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Okay, something like that. So yeah, you know, a lot of greens, some fog, soft, gentle morning, some light poking through here and there. I thought that might make for an interesting view. But I think I mentioned a couple of videos ago that around this time of the year, I go a little easier on myself, and I want to have some fun. So, more than likely, I'm going to ignore everything I just said. And when it comes to the painting of this. The fun part is skies. I love skies, crazy wild skies. So I think it's entirely possible that I'm just going to use a knife on this painting. And all of this area will be crazy wild sky. As we go off into the distance, we have maybe a low bank of cloud, a low bank of mist, sort of melting into the distant water. And then just some interesting light and color in the sky, so that the subject matter isn't just this landmass, but rather the juxtaposition of the landmass and the design in the sky and the light in the sky. I've left this line out for the moment. It may come back. Actually, you know what? Why don't I put it in? And if I don't like it, I'll negate it later. Maybe that's a better way to do it. Gives a little bit of perspective on this mass here. Not that it's necessarily necessary. Okay, I've been using ultramarine blue and raw umber. Now I'm just going to grab some raw umber. Not that the color itself is so important, but these rocks are all going to be dark for the wash-in. They may pick up quite a bit of light during the painting, but for the moment that's not what I want. Again, this is not an underpainting. Well, it is and it isn't, you know? It's just a wash-in. It's just sort of establishing somewhat my colors, but more importantly my values. or my values, the values. My brush is probably a little bit of a small one for this, but it's dirty, and I'm lazy, and as I said, it's late, so I don't want to make another brush dirty because it takes a while for me to clean a brush. I never leave a brush dirty overnight. Doesn't happen. Sure, you can leave it soaking in turpentine and all that stuff. I still don't do it. I just won't do it. I just like things cleaned up and finished, taken care of for the evening. Because I don't know when I'm going to get back to this in the morning. It'll, it's not going to be. Or my plan is that I'll be revisiting this pretty early in the morning, but my backup plan is that I don't. So this provides the possibility of not getting back to it right away, and it still being okay. Okay, the most direct rocks. Now, let's see. That's a bit of a landmark. I am just going to stick with the same wash. On this little sliver of distant ground and behind everything else. Why not? Why not? It's not really dictating the colors. It's just the way I'm looking at it right now. So, all right, there's that. Now, I've got this ultramarine blue and raw umber mixed up, which is not really what I intended to do. I mixed up too much of it. You know what I'll do? I'll add just a hint of yellow ochre. Just a hint. So it's not just completely dark. And it gets a little greener if I do this. At least that approximates the color that I'm going to be after a little bit. I do want it. I do want these trees to end up being kind of green. Not always, but this time, yes. Well, most of the time, yes. And even this bush. It's if I want more color in it, I can add it later. If I don't want more color in it, I can take it away. Not an issue. The important thing is, and this is really important, that the outline of this strong foreground landmass is dominant and decisive looking. And I think it is. And from that I can build. Let's see what kind of a painting mood I am going to be in tomorrow, but like I said, I've done a lot of work lately, and in a way, I'd kind of like to take a knife and just go crazy in the sky. Just have fun. Just kind of make the design up as I go. Maybe they'll... okay, I'm not even going to talk about that. I just have different ideas, different ways of possibly attacking it. That's right, I said attacking. Not physically, just kind of, mentally attacking it. I'm getting a little bit old to go around attacking things. It's just... Probably not the best plan. Yeah. Okay, this would be my, my sort of change of current in the water, which you often have when you come off of the point of a peninsula. And above that would be the horizon, or the point at which the water meets a distant shore, or the point at which the water slowly fades off into the distance, if this all becomes storm cloud. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just fine with that. I don't mind not knowing what I want to do. That's the adventure, man. That's the fun of it. And what happens up here will partly dictate what happens here. But this never has to be in lockstep with this. If you spend enough time in nature, and I have, you'd be amazed, if you're observant, how the water and the land and the sky can, although they have some unity, they can be very separate from each other. It depends on the degree of angle of the leading edge of the waves or the trailing edge of the waves. Depends on the current. It could be a catspaw catching a lick of wind on the water surface, catching some light from somewhere off the canvas. You can't know that. You need to use your imagination. It takes a bit of creative maturity to do that. Not everybody has that. But I think, most people do. Anyway, talk to you soon.